The huge white ship moved slowly through space like a gentle giant. Its name was the UNM's Hippocrates, and it was the largest hospital ship humans had ever built. Red crosses covered its hull, so big that anyone could see them from thousands of miles away. These crosses meant one thing: this ship saved lives. It did not take them. Captain Sarah Chun stood on the bridge and watched the stars. She had been running this medical ship for 3 years now. In that time, her crew had saved more than 50,000 lives. It did not matter what planet they came from or what side of the war they fought on. If someone was hurt, the Hippocrates helped them. The ship was like a floating city. 3,000 doctors, nurses, and medical workers lived inside it. The medical bays were huge rooms filled with the best healing machines in the galaxy. Right now, those bays held 1,200 patients. Some were Zephyrian soldiers with terrible burns. Others were Altarian families who had lost their homes in bombing raids. Dr. Elena Vasquez walked through the main medical bay. She was the head surgeon and the best doctor on the ship. Around her, human medics worked next to alien nurses. A Zephyrian with blue skin lay on one bed while a human doctor fixed his broken arm. On the next bed, an Altarian child with golden fur was getting medicine for a lung infection. The child's mother held her hand and whispered soft words. Dr. Vasquez called Nurse Kim from across the room. The new patients from the refugee convoy are stable. All of them should make a full recovery. Elena smiled. This was why she became a doctor. War was destroying this part of the galaxy, but here on the Hippocrates, they could fix what war had broken. The Galactic Medical Neutrality Accords made sure that hospital ships like theirs could work without fear. No military force was allowed to attack medical ships. It was a law that every civilized species followed. The bridge computer made a soft sound. Captain Chun looked at the message that appeared on her screen. Another distress call. She said to her first officer, "Refugee convoy under attack in Sector 7. How many ships?" Asked the officer. 20 civilian transports. Families mostly. They are asking for immediate medical help. Chun did not think twice. Set course for Sector 7. Maximum speed. The Hippocrates turned and began moving toward the distress call. This was what they did. When people needed help, they came running. The ship had powerful shields for protection, but no weapons at all. They did not need weapons. The red crosses on their hull were better protection than any gun. Dr. James Morrison was in his lab working on new medicines. His daughter Lisa had joined the medical corps last year. She was working in the children's ward today, making sick alien kids laugh with her silly jokes. James was proud of her. She had inherited his love of helping others. The lab door opened and Lisa walked in. "Dad, we just got word about a new mission. Refugee convoy needs help." "How bad?" James asked. "Bad. Captain Chun says we might need to prepare for mass casualties." James nodded. They had done this many times before. The Hippocrates would arrive at the battle zone, and both sides would stop shooting. Everyone respected the medical ship. They would take aboard the wounded and heal them. Then they would return them to their people. It was simple, and it worked. "Get the emergency medical teams ready," James told his daughter. "And Lisa?" "Yes, Dad?" "Be careful out there." Lisa smiled and hugged him. "I always am." The Hippocrates arrived in Sector 7 2 hours later. The refugee convoy was scattered across space. Several ships were badly damaged. Escape pods floated between the larger vessels, filled with families who had nowhere else to go. "This is Captain Chun of the UNM's Hippocrates." She broadcast on all frequencies. "We are a medical vessel operating under the Galactic Medical Neutrality Accords. We are here to provide aid to the wounded. All military forces must respect our neutrality." The refugee ships began moving toward the Hippocrates. The medical teams prepared to receive patients. Dr. Vasquez checked her equipment one more time. Everything was ready. That was when the 3 Zephyrian warships appeared. They came out of nowhere, their cloaking devices shutting off all at once. 3 massive dreadnoughts surrounded the medical ship. Each one was twice the size of the Hippocrates and armed with enough weapons to destroy a small moon. Captain Chun tried to contact them. "This is the UNS Hippocrates. We are a medical vessel. Please identify yourselves." No answer came. The Zephyrian ships powered up their weapons. Red lights began flashing on the Hippocrates bridge. The computer was detecting weapons lock. "Captain," said the first officer, "they are targeting us." Chun could not believe it. "Send the medical neutrality codes. Show them our registration. They cannot attack a hospital ship." The communication officer worked fast. "Code sent, Captain." "They are not responding." Dr. Vasquez felt the ship shake. In the medical bay, patients looked around with fear in their eyes. The Zephyrian soldiers they had saved looked especially worried. They knew their own people better than anyone. "All medical teams, this is the bridge," Captain Chun announced. "Prepare for possible evacuation." This is not a drill, but there was nowhere to evacuate to. The Hippocrates had no escape pods big enough for 3,000 people. It was a hospital, not a warship. It was built to save lives, not to run from death. The first blast hit the engine section. The lights went out for a moment, then came back on red emergency lighting. The ship shook like an earthquake was happening inside it. Dr. Morrison grabbed his daughter's hand in the medical bay. Around them, patients were crying and calling for their families. The human medical staff tried to keep everyone calm, but they were scared too. "Dad," Lisa said, "what is happening?" Before James could answer, the second blast hit. This time, it hit the main medical bay. The beautiful healing machines were destroyed in seconds. Patients and doctors who had been working together moments before were gone. Elena Vasquez was in a section that was losing air. She could see space through a hole in the wall. With her last breath, she sent a data packet to the nearest relay station. It contained medical records for all their patients. If she was going to die, at least the medical data might save someone else. The third blast finished what the first 2 had started. The UNS Hippocrates, pride of the human medical fleet, broke apart in space. 3,000 of humanity's best doctors and nurses died. 1,200 patients from a dozen different worlds died with them. The Zephyrian warships watched the white ship burn. Then they turned and flew away, leaving only wreckage and silence behind. But they had made one mistake. The automatic emergency beacons had broadcast everything. The entire galaxy had watched them destroy a hospital ship. The red crosses were clearly visible as the ship died, and somewhere far away, Earth was receiving the transmission. Admiral Marcus Webb was eating breakfast when the emergency alarm sounded. He had been enjoying a quiet morning at Terra Command, reading reports about the latest peace talks in the outer systems. The alarm meant only one thing. Something very bad had happened somewhere in human space. He ran to the command center, still wearing his casual clothes. The big screens on the walls showed officers working at their stations with worried faces. Admiral Webb had seen many crises in his 30 years of service, but he had never seen his people look this upset. "What is the situation?" he asked. Commander Elisa Park turned from her station. Her face was white with shock. "Sir, we have received a distress signal from the UNS Hippocrates. It is not good news." The main screen lit up with video footage. Admiral Webb watched in growing horror as 3 Zephyrian warships attacked a medical ship. He could see the red crosses clearly painted on the white hull. He could see the refugee ships nearby. He could see that the Hippocrates was completely defenseless. The video showed the first blast hitting the hospital ship. Then the second. then the third. He watched the ship break apart in space, taking 3,000 human lives with it. The final transmission was from Dr. Elena Vasquez. Even as her section was losing air, she was sending medical data to help save others. When did this happen? Webb asked. 18 hours ago, sir. The transmission just reached us. Admiral Webb felt something cold settle in his stomach. The Hippocrates was not just any ship. It was the pride of humanity's medical fleet. Dr. Morrison was on that ship. Captain Chun was on that ship. 3,000 of Earth's best and brightest were on that ship. And now they were all dead. Get me a direct line to the Galactic Council, he ordered. The communication came through in minutes. The council chamber appeared on the screen, filled with representatives from dozens of different worlds. Admiral Webb could see aliens with blue skin, golden fur, crystal bodies, and stranger forms. They all looked uncomfortable. Admiral Webb, said Council Speaker Thorne, a tall being with gray skin and 4 arms. We have seen the footage. This is a terrible tragedy. Tragedy? Webb's voice was very quiet, but everyone could hear the anger in it. Speaker Thorne, this was not a tragedy. This was a war crime. The Hippocrates was a medical vessel operating under the Galactic Medical Neutrality Accords. The Zephyrians murdered 3,000 doctors and nurses. We understand your anger, replied another council member, this one with bright blue feathers. But we must consider the larger conflict. The Zephyrians and Altarians have been at war for... I do not care about their war. Webb cut him off. I care about the fact that they fired on a hospital ship. What is the council's response? There was uncomfortable silence. Finally, Speaker Thorne spoke. We will send a formal protest to the Zephyrian Empire. We will ask them to explain their actions. Admiral Webb stared at the screen. A formal protest. That is your response to the murder of 3,000 medical workers. Admiral, we must be careful. The Zephyrian Empire is very powerful. They have the largest fleet in this part of the galaxy. We cannot risk a larger war. The transmission ended. Admiral Webb stood alone in the command center, feeling the weight of what had just happened. The galactic community was going to do nothing. They would write angry letters and hold meetings, but they would not act. They were too afraid of the Zephyrians. Commander Park approached him carefully. Sir, we are receiving reports of Zephyrian forces moving toward other human medical ships. The UN's Mercy and the UN's Hope are both in potential danger zones. Webb turned to face his entire command staff. Every officer in the room was looking at him, waiting for orders. These were good people who had dedicated their lives to protecting humanity. They deserved to know what came next. Get me a secure line to Earth, he said. The call took 20 minutes to connect. Admiral Webb found himself face to face with the Terran Defense Council, the group of 12 people who made the most important decisions for humanity. General Sarah Kim spoke for the group. Marcus, we have all seen the footage. What do you recommend? Admiral Webb had been thinking about this since the moment he saw the Hippocrates die. They have declared war on humanity's medical corps. 2 more medical ships are under threat. The galactic community will not help us. We have 3 options. He pulled up a star map on his screen. Option 1, we recall all medical ships to Earth space. We stop helping the galaxy and focus on protecting ourselves. That would mean abandoning millions of wounded aliens who depend on our help, said council member Torres. Option 2, we increase security around our medical ships. More escorts, that is shields, weapons if necessary. That would violate the medical neutrality accords, pointed out council member Chun. If we arm medical ships, other powers might do the same. Admiral Webb nodded. Which brings us to option 3. The screen went quiet. Everyone was waiting. We show them what happens when you murder human doctors. General Kim leaned forward. Explain. The Zephyrians think we are weak because we choose to heal instead of hurt. They think our medical ships prove that humans are soft. They are about to learn that they are very, very wrong. Council member Taurus looked worried. Marcus, are you talking about military action? The Zephyrian Empire has over 3,000 warships. They have 3,000 warships that they know about, Webb replied. But they do not know about the ships we keep hidden. They do not know about the weapons we have never used. They do not know what humanity is really capable of when someone murders our healers. The council members looked at each other. They all knew what Admiral Webb was talking about. For 50 years, humanity had been building ships and weapons that the galaxy had never seen. They called it the insurance policy, tools of war that would only be used if humanity's survival was threatened. The Hippocrates was more than a medical ship, Webb continued. It was a symbol of everything good about humanity. Our willingness to help others. Our belief that life is sacred. Our hope that the galaxy could be a better place. The Zephyrians destroyed that symbol in front of the entire galaxy. He paused and looked directly at the camera. It is time to show them our other symbols. General Kim was quiet for a long moment. What do you need, Marcus? I need Project Deep Medicine activated. I need the Phantom Fleet brought online. And I need complete authority to respond as I see fit. You are talking about revealing capabilities that we have kept secret for decades. The Zephyrians revealed something about themselves when they fired on a medical ship, Webb said. They revealed that they do not understand what mercy means. They think it means weakness. Let us teach them the difference. The vote was quick and unanimous. Admiral Webb had his authority dot as the connection ended. Commander Park approached him again. Sir, intelligence reports that the Zephyrians are hunting our remaining medical ships. The Un's Mercy was destroyed 3 hours ago. All hands lost. Admiral Webb closed his eyes. More doctors dead. More nurses dead. More human lives lost because aliens thought humanity was weak. When he opened his eyes again, they were very cold. Send a message to all human vessels in Zephyrian space, he ordered. Full withdrawal. Every ship, every station, every human presence. I want our people out of there in 24 hours. Sir, the Zephyrians might think we are retreating in fear. Admiral Webb walked to the main display and looked at the star map. Somewhere out there, the wreckage of the Hippocrates was still floating in space. Good people who had dedicated their lives to healing were now just debris and memories. Let them think that, he said quietly. Let them think we are running away. Let them think they have won. They will understand the truth soon enough. Deep under the mountains of Earth, in a place that did not exist on any public map, Admiral Webb walked through corridors that most humans had never seen. The facility was called Deep Medicine, and it held secrets that had been kept for 50 years. The elevator went down for what felt like forever. When the doors opened, Webb stepped into a world that would have shocked the galaxy. The huge underground complex stretched for miles in every direction. Thousands of scientists and engineers worked at stations filled with technology that was decades ahead of anything the public knew about. Dr. Sarah Mitchell met him at the entrance. She was the director of Deep Medicine and one of the most brilliant minds humanity had ever produced. Her gray hair and tired eyes showed the weight of the secrets she carried. Admiral, she said, I assume this is about the medical ships. The Hippocrates is gone, Sarah. The Mercy, too. The Zephyrians are hunting our doctors like animals. Dr. Mitchell nodded sadly. I knew Elena Vasquez personally. She was a good friend and a brilliant surgeon. This must not go unpunished. They walked through the main laboratory. All around them, scientists worked on projects that could change the galaxy. In one section, researchers studied alien biology with a detail that would have impressed the greatest medical schools. In another, engineers built weapons that used that biological knowledge in ways that no one else had imagined. "Show me what we have," Webb said. Dr. Mitchell led him to a secure viewing room. Through thick glass, they could see the main research floor. "We have been studying every known alien species for 50 years, she explained. Their biology, their weaknesses, their fears. The galaxy thinks we are good at medicine because we care about healing. They are not wrong, but they are not completely right either." "What do you mean?" "To heal someone, you must understand exactly how their body works. You must know what chemicals affect them and how. You must understand their nervous system, their immune system, their genetic structure." Dr. Mitchell paused. "That same knowledge can be used very differently if needed." Webb understood. "You can heal them or hurt them with the same information. Better than that, we can put them to sleep without hurting them at all. We can make their weapons stop working without killing anyone. We can shut down their ships while keeping the crew safe." Dr. Mitchell smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "We can perform surgery on an entire civilization." They moved to another section where engineers worked on strange-looking devices. "What are those?" Webb asked. "Atmospheric processors. They can change the air on a ship or a planet to match any alien species' needs. We use them on our medical ships to help patients breathe better." She picked up one of the devices. "But they can also do the opposite. They can make Zephyrian soldiers fall asleep in minutes without causing any permanent damage." Admiral Webb was beginning to understand the true power that humanity had built in secret. "How many ships do we have that the galaxy does not know about?" "Follow me." They took another elevator, this one going down even deeper. When the doors opened, Webb gasped. Before him stretched the largest underground shipyard he had ever seen. Dozens of warships sat in construction bays, each one more advanced than anything the known human fleet possessed. "The Phantom Fleet," Dr. Mitchell said. 57 ships built with technology that the galaxy thinks is impossible. Stealth systems better than anything the Zephyrians have. Weapons that can disable entire enemy fleets without killing a single person. Medical systems that can heal or harm with equal precision. The ships were beautiful and terrible at the same time. They looked like medical vessels, with clean white hulls and red crosses. But Webb could see the hidden weapon ports and advanced armor plating. These were not hospital ships. They were something entirely new. "We call them medical intervention vessels," Dr. Mitchell explained. "They can heal, or they can hurt, depending on what the situation requires." Admiral Webb walked among the ships, feeling a mix of pride and sadness. Humanity had built these incredible tools, but they had hoped never to use them. The medical ships flying openly through the galaxy represented humanity's hope for peace. These hidden ships represented their preparation for war. "How long until they are ready?" he asked. "They have been ready for 10 years. We just needed someone with the authority to activate them." Webb's communication device buzzed. Commander Park's voice came through with urgent news. "Admiral, we have a problem. The Zephyrian High Command has issued a statement about the medical ship attacks. Put it through." The main screen in the shipyard came alive with the image of Emperor Thrax, the leader of the Zephyrian Empire. He was a massive being with dark blue skin and 6 arms, each one decorated with symbols of military victories. His voice was deep and full of arrogance. "People of the galaxy," Emperor Thrax began, "we have taken necessary action against human interference in our righteous war against the Altarian rebels. The humans claim their ships are for medical purposes, but we know the truth. They use these ships to aid our enemies and spy on our operations." Admiral Webb felt his anger growing as the Emperor continued. "The so-called medical neutrality accords are tools used by the weak to protect themselves from the strong. The Zephyrian Empire will no longer honor these agreements when they interfere with our security. Any human vessel found in our territory will be destroyed without warning. The transmission ended. Dr. Mitchell looked at Admiral Webb with concern. Marcus, they are not just targeting medical ships. They are declaring war on all human presence in their space. Webb was quiet for a long moment. Around them, the Phantom Fleet waited in silence, ready to reveal humanity's true nature to the galaxy. Finally, he spoke. "Get me Dr. James Morrison." "Sir." "Dr. Morrison died on the Hippocrates." "No, not that Dr. Morrison, his brother. The one who works in the Biological Weapons Division." Dr. Mitchell's eyes widened. "Admiral, are you sure about this?" "Once we crossed that line, they crossed the line when they fired on a hospital ship," Webb said firmly. "Get me Dr. Morrison. Get me the fleet commanders. Get me everyone who has been preparing for this day." Within an hour, the command center of Deep Medicine was filled with people who had been waiting decades for this moment. Dr. James Morrison, brother of the man who died on the Hippocrates, stood at the front of the group. His eyes were red from crying, but his voice was steady. "My brother dedicated his life to healing people," Dr. Morrison said. "He believed that medicine could bring the galaxy together. The Zephyrians murdered him for that belief." He turned to face Admiral Webb. "What do you need from me?" "I need you to show them what human medicine can really do. I need you to take everything we know about Zephyrian biology and use it to stop their military without killing their people." Dr. Morrison nodded slowly. "You want to cure them of their ability to make war?" "Exactly." "Can you do it?" "Yes. We have compounds that can put their entire fleet to sleep. We have ways to shut down their technology without permanent damage. We can stop their empire without becoming murderers ourselves." Dr. Morrison paused. "But they will never underestimate humanity again." Admiral Webb looked around the room at the scientists, engineers, and military officers who had kept humanity's secrets for so long. These people had built the tools for peace and the tools for war. They had hoped only to use the first set. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "the Zephyrian Empire believes that mercy is weakness. They believe that healing means we cannot hurt. They believe that humans are soft prey who will run when threatened." He gestured to the Phantom Fleet visible through the windows. "It is time to perform surgery on that belief." The room erupted in activity. After 50 years of preparation, humanity was finally going to show the galaxy what they had really been building. The same knowledge that had made human doctors the best healers in the galaxy was about to become the most precise weapon ever created. The Zephyrians wanted to play by their rules. They were about to learn that humans had rules of their own. 1 week after the Hippocrates died, at exactly 3 in the morning Galactic Standard Time, the Zephyrian Empire learned what human medicine could really do. Commander Vex was on duty aboard the Zephyrian battleship Thunder of War when the first signs appeared. His crew had been celebrating their recent victories against human medical ships. They thought they had scared the weak humans away from Zephyrian space forever. The ship's computer made a soft warning sound. Nothing serious, just a minor air filtration alert. Commander Vex did not think much of it. These old ships always had small problems with their life support systems. 5 minutes later, his weapons officer fell asleep at his station. "Medical team to the bridge," Vex called, but his voice sounded strange. He felt very tired all of a sudden. Around him, his crew was yawning and rubbing their eyes. The medical team never arrived. When Vex tried to call them again, there was no answer. He stumbled to the security monitors and looked at the medical bay. The entire medical team was asleep on the floor. "What is happening?" he asked, but there was no one awake to answer. One by one, every member of his crew lay down and closed their eyes. Commander Vex fought the sleepiness as long as he could, but it was like fighting the tide. His last thought before unconsciousness took him was that the air tasted slightly sweet across 3 entire star systems. The same thing was happening to every Zephyrian military vessel. Huge battleships drifted silent and dark through space. Space stations went quiet. Military bases stopped responding to communications. In less than 2 hours, the entire Zephyrian military fell into a deep, harmless sleep. Admiral Webb watched it all happen from the bridge of the UN's Asclepius, humanity's first medical intervention vessel. The ship looked like a hospital ship from the outside, with its white hull and red crosses. But inside, it was the most advanced warship ever built. "Status report," he said. "All Zephyrian military vessels in the target zones have been neutralized," reported Captain Lisa Park, who had been promoted after her excellent work at Terra Command. "The atmospheric processors worked perfectly. Their crews are unconscious, but unharmed." Dr. James Morrison, the brother of the man who died on the Hippocrates, stood beside them. "The compound will keep them asleep for exactly 24 hours. When they wake up, they will feel like they had the best night's sleep of their lives. No permanent effects." Admiral Webb nodded. The first phase of Operation Hippocrates was complete. Now came the surgical strikes. The Phantom Fleet moved through Zephyrian space like ghosts. Their stealth technology was so advanced that they appeared on sensors only when they wanted to. Each ship was commanded by officers who had lost friends on the destroyed medical vessels. They had personal reasons for being precise. The UNS Scalpel approached the main Zephyrian shipyard orbiting their industrial moon. Captain Torres had served on the original Hippocrates before transferring to the Hidden Fleet. She knew exactly how the Zephyrians had killed her former shipmates. "Target analysis complete," her tactical officer reported. "The shipyard has 47 ships under construction, including 3 dreadnoughts. What about civilian workers?" Captain Torres asked. "Scans show approximately 12,000 Zephyrian civilians working in the non-military sections. They are not targets." Captain Torres smiled. This was the difference between humans and Zephyrians. When the aliens attacked medical ships, they killed everyone aboard, including patients and doctors who were trying to help. When humans struck back, they were careful to hurt only those who deserved it. "Begin surgical removal of military targets," she ordered. The Scalpel's weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Instead of crude energy blasts that destroyed everything in their path, these weapons cut with medical precision. They identified military targets and removed them completely while leaving civilian areas untouched. The 3 dreadnoughts under construction simply vanished. The weapons removed them so cleanly that the civilian workers in nearby sections did not even know anything had happened until they looked outside their windows and saw empty construction bays across the Zephyrian Empire. The same surgical strikes were happening everywhere. Military installations disappeared. Weapon factories became empty buildings. Warships were reduced to civilian hulls with no weapons or military systems. The humans did not destroy cities or attack civilians. They performed precise operations that cut the military cancer out of Zephyrian society while leaving the healthy parts intact. Emperor Thrax woke up in his palace to find his empire completely defenseless. Every warship was either asleep or stripped of weapons. Every military base was empty of equipment. His great fleet, which had terrorized the galaxy for decades, was gone. His communication system still worked, so he sent frantic messages to his remaining commanders. Most did not respond because they were still unconscious. The few who answered could only report the same thing. Their weapons were gone. Their ships were powerless. And they had no idea how it happened. "Your Imperial Majesty," his chief advisor said nervously, "we are receiving a transmission from the humans." Emperor Thrax's blood turned cold. He had thought the humans were weak prey. He had ordered their medical ships destroyed to show the galaxy that the Zephyrian Empire feared nothing. Now he was beginning to understand how wrong he had been. The main screen in his throne room lit up with the image of Admiral Webb. Behind him, Thrax could see the bridge of a ship that looked like a medical vessel, but felt like something much more dangerous. "Emperor Thrax," Admiral Webb said calmly. "This is Admiral Marcus Webb of the Terran Medical Fleet. We need to talk." "You attacked us." Thrax snarled, but his voice sounded scared instead of angry. "No, Emperor. We treated you. Your empire had a disease, an addiction to violence that made you attack doctors and nurses. We have cured you of that disease." Webb gestured to someone off-screen. Dr. Morrison appeared beside him, holding a medical tablet. "Dr. Morrison here has the full medical records of your recent treatment," Webb continued. "Your military forces are unconscious but unharmed. Your weapons have been surgically removed. Your ability to threaten innocent medical personnel has been completely eliminated." Emperor Thrax tried to sound threatening. "This is an act of war. The galaxy will not stand for this." "Actually," Webb replied, "the galaxy is quite impressed with our surgical precision. We have received messages of congratulation from 17 different species. It seems that many people were tired of your empire's bullying." The Emperor looked around his throne room desperately. His guards were still unconscious from the atmospheric treatment. His advisors were hiding behind furniture. For the first time in his life, the great Emperor Thrax felt truly helpless. "What do you want?" he asked quietly. Admiral Webb's expression became very serious. "You fired on a hospital ship, Emperor. You murdered 3,000 doctors, nurses, and patients. You destroyed the UNM's Hippocrates, which had saved 50,000 lives from both sides of your war." He leaned forward in his chair. "You declared war on the concept of mercy itself. So we have come to give you a prescription for getting your mercy back." The screen changed to show a legal document. Emperor Thrax read it with growing horror. The humans were not asking for money or territory. They were demanding something much more difficult. "You want us to build new medical ships?" Thrax asked. 50 of them, Webb confirmed. "Each one will be staffed by both human and Zephyrian medical personnel. You will fund them completely. They will provide free medical care to anyone in the galaxy who needs it. And if we refuse..." Webb's smile was not friendly at all. "Emperor, we have just shown you what human medicine can do when it chooses to harm instead of heal. We put your entire military to sleep and removed your ability to hurt others without killing a single person. Do you really want to see what we can do if we stop being nice?" Around the Emperor's throne room, the remaining Zephyrian officials whispered among themselves. They had seen their great empire brought to its knees in less than a day by an enemy they had thought was weak. They did not want to test human patience any further. "There is one more thing," Admiral Webb added. "Every Zephyrian military officer must serve a rotation aboard these new medical ships. You need to understand what you destroyed. You need to learn what it means to save lives instead of taking them." Emperor Thrax wanted to refuse, but he had no choice. His empire was defenseless. His military was unconscious or disarmed. The humans had beaten him completely without firing a single shot in anger. "We accept your terms," he said finally. Admiral Webb nodded. "Good. The medical treatment of your empire will begin immediately. We estimate full recovery in 6 months." The transmission ended, leaving Emperor Thrax alone with the truth. He had awakened a sleeping giant, and that giant was a doctor with a very sharp scalpel. 6 months after the Zephyrian Empire learned what human medicine could really do, Dr. James Morrison stood on the bridge of the new UNM's Hippocrates II. Through the huge windows, he could see the beautiful blue and green planet below. This was Alteria Prime, and they had just finished treating the last of the war refugees. The new ship was even larger than the original Hippocrates. Its white hull gleamed with fresh red crosses that could be seen from space. But unlike the first medical ship, this one had hidden defenses. The galaxy now knew that human mercy came with very sharp teeth for those who tried to abuse it. "Dr. Morrison," called a voice from behind him. He turned to see Lieutenant Zara, a young Zephyrian female with the distinctive blue skin of her species. She wore the same white medical uniform as the human crew members, but she was still getting used to working alongside the people her empire had tried to destroy. "What is it, Lieutenant?" Morrison asked kindly. Zara had been assigned to the ship as part of the peace agreement. She was the daughter of Admiral Crix, the Zephyrian commander who had ordered the attack on the original Hippocrates. It was not easy for her to work with humans, and it was not easy for humans to work with her. "The refugee children in Ward 7 are asking for you," she said. "They want to hear another story." Morrison smiled. The children were from 12 different species, all victims of the war that had finally ended 3 months ago. The Zephyrian Empire and the Altarian Republic had signed a peace treaty after seeing what humans could do when their patience ran out. Both sides decided they preferred negotiating with words instead of risking human medical intervention. "What story do they want tonight?" he asked. "They want to hear about the doctors who fought the monsters." Morrison's smile faded a little. The children had created their own version of recent events. In their story, evil monsters had attacked the good doctors, and then the doctor warriors had come to save everyone. It was simpler than the real truth, but maybe that was better for young minds. "I will be there in a few minutes," he told Zara as she walked away. Morrison thought about his brother James, who had died on the first Hippocrates. His brother had believed that medicine could unite the galaxy. In a strange way, he had been right. The attack on medical personnel had brought together species that had never agreed on anything before. The door to the bridge opened and Admiral Webb walked in. He was making his final inspection tour before returning to Earth. The Hippocrates, too, was ready to begin its mission of healing the galaxy's wounds. "How are the mixed crews working out?" Webb asked. "Better than expected," Morrison replied. The Zephyrians were terrified at first. They thought we might poison them or experiment on them. But after a few weeks of working together, they started to understand. Understand what? That we really do want to heal people. All people, even the ones who hurt us. Admiral Webb nodded. This had been the hardest part of the peace agreement for many humans to accept. They were working alongside the children and relatives of the people who had murdered their friends. But Morrison was right. It was working. "The other new medical ships are reporting similar success," Webb said. "The joint human Zephyrian crews are actually more effective than either species working alone. Humans understand compassion. Zephyrians understand efficiency. Together they save more lives." Through the bridge windows, they could see one of the other new medical ships. Beyond's Mercy 2 was in orbit nearby, treating injured workers from a mining accident. Its crew was half human, half Zephyrian, working together as if they had been partners for years instead of enemies. 6 months ago, Morrison's communication device buzzed. "Dr. Morrison to the children's ward, please. Dr. Morrison to the children's ward. Duty calls," he said to Admiral Webb. "Will you come with me?" The children liked meeting famous admirals. They walked through the ship's corridors together. The Hippocrates, too, was a masterpiece of medical technology, with healing devices that could treat any known alien biology. But it was also a fortress that could defend itself and its patients if necessary. The galaxy had learned that attacking a human medical ship was the fastest way to discover humanity's hidden strength. The children's ward was a bright, cheerful place filled with laughter and games. Alien children of a dozen different species played together while recovering from injuries and illnesses. Human and Zephyrian medical staff worked side by side, their old hatred forgotten in their shared love of helping the young and innocent. Dr. Morrison called a small Altarian child with golden fur. "Tell us the story. Tell us about the Doctor Warriors." The children gathered around in a circle, their big eyes wide with excitement. Morrison sat down among them, with Admiral Webb beside him. Even Lieutenant Zara joined the group, curious to hear the human version of events. "Once upon a time," Morrison began, "there were doctors who sailed between the stars in great white ships marked with red crosses. They went everywhere in the galaxy, healing anyone who needed help." A Zephyrian child with tiny blue horns raised her hand. "Even their enemies?" "Especially their enemies," Morrison said firmly. "The doctors believed that everyone deserved to be healed, no matter what they looked like or where they came from." The children nodded solemnly. This was an important lesson. But one day, some very bad people attacked the doctor ships. They thought the doctors were weak because they chose to heal instead of hurt. They destroyed a great medical ship called the Hippocrates and killed many good doctors. The children looked sad, even though they had heard this story many times. "What happened next?" asked an excited young alien with crystal skin. Admiral Webb leaned forward. The other doctors became very angry, but they did not want to kill the bad people. Instead, they used their medical knowledge to put the bad people to sleep and take away their weapons. "Like giving medicine to a sick person?" asked the Altarian child. "Exactly like that," Morrison said. The doctors treated the bad people's sickness. Their sickness was that they enjoyed hurting others. So the doctors cured them of their ability to hurt anyone. Lieutenant Zara spoke up quietly. And then the bad people had to learn how to be doctors themselves. The children giggled at this. They thought it was funny that warriors had to learn how to heal people instead of fighting. "Did they become good doctors?" asked the Zephyrian child. Morrison looked at Lieutenant Zara, who had been one of those former warriors. Some of them became very good doctors indeed. After the story ended and the children went to bed, Morrison and Admiral Webb stood on the observation deck looking out at the stars. In the distance, they could see the lights of Altarian cities, now peaceful and rebuilding after years of war. "Do you think it will last?" Morrison asked. "This peace we have created?" Admiral Webb was quiet for a long moment. "I think the galaxy understands something now that it did not understand before. They thought human kindness meant human weakness. They thought our choice to heal instead of harm made us easy prey." He gestured to the medical ship floating in space around them. "Now they know the truth. We choose to heal because we are strong enough to hurt. We choose mercy because we are powerful enough to destroy. We save lives because we have the ability to take them." Morrison nodded. "My brother believed that medicine could bring the galaxy together. He was right, but not in the way he expected." "How so?" "He thought our healing would inspire others to be peaceful. Instead, our response to his death taught them to respect peace." A young voice interrupted them. Lieutenant Zara had approached quietly. "Dr. Morrison, I wanted to thank you." "For what?" "For letting me work here. For trusting me even though my people killed your brother. For showing me what it means to save lives instead of taking them." Morrison smiled at the young Zephyrian. "What will you do when your service rotation ends?" "I am going to apply for permanent assignment to the medical fleet. I want to spend my life healing people, not hurting them." She paused, looking out at the stars. "My father led the attack on the first Hippocrates. He always told me that strength came from making others fear you. But you humans have taught me something different." "What is that?" Admiral Webb asked. "True strength comes from making others trust you. And the strongest thing you can do is choose not to use your power to hurt others." Later that night, Morrison sat alone in his quarters, reading reports from the other new medical ships. The joint human Zephyrian crews were working miracles across the galaxy. They had ended 3 different wars just by offering to treat the wounded from both sides. Pirates had stopped attacking merchant ships because they knew the medical fleet would hunt them down. Slavers had freed their captives rather than face human intervention. The galaxy had become a more peaceful place, but not because humans had inspired others with kindness. It had become peaceful because humans had demonstrated what happened to those who attacked healers. A message came through on his personal communication device. It was from Earth, from the families of the doctors who had died on the original Hippocrates. They wanted to know how the new ship was doing. Morrison smiled as he typed his response. The new Hippocrates is saving lives every day. Your loved ones would be proud. Their sacrifice taught the galaxy to respect the Red Cross. No one will ever fire on a medical ship again. As he sent the message, Morrison looked out his window at the stars.